Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. Today I'll be talking all about brand. How did you bring your brand out, especially after what's happened with the pandemic? So much has happened. So many businesses are struggling. People have lost their jobs, are struggling about if I take on an entrepreneurship kind of role, if I try and do my true passion, the key question is, how do I get my first clients? What are the challenges that I would have to face? How do I put food on my table and how do I grow my business? The pandemic has made us all realize that it comes to a point where we have to make that critical decision. We have to try and be entrepreneurs and try and grow something, but trying is not enough. We have to stick to it. We have to be consistent, and that's never easy. My conversation today is focusing on growing your business, turning your business around to multiple figures, to the 6 figures, and making it sustainable and consistent. My guest is Hanna Fitz. She's a brand strategist and an online business coach. We'll be after her definition of success and how people can find their joy right with you for more brand strategy. She's an author, a world traveler, and teaches people to go down within themselves and build a successful brand. She creates 6 figures for many people in less than 12 weeks as an online coach. I'm super excited about this because I think now more than ever, we need to understand, how do we build our businesses? How do we get out of that pain? You have your business, the rent is due, all of those little things taking so much of your time. But the main thing is that you just can't grow your brand. Hanna will be talking to us about all this and how we do this. Meet Hanna. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Painless Universal, a conversation with myself and Welsh. I have the amazing Hanna here with us today. As I said in my introduction, so much has gone on in the world in the past few years, especially now with the pandemic, which has just hit us, and so many people has been let go of their jobs. Hanna here will be talking to us about who she is and, most importantly, how she turned businesses around to identify and know your brand, to really be comfortable in what you're doing and what you're selling. Hanna, thank you so much for joining us. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me. And I love what you're doing and bringing this message to people everywhere who need a sense of hope, or at least need to see stories of other people who will encourage them to continue on the course and the journey.
I'm so glad as well with what you're doing, because you are building brands and helping them. I saw so many wonderful testimony about what you do. Um, Before we get into all of that, could you just tell us a little bit about who you are?
Sure. So I grew up on the island of St. Lucia in the Caribbean. Um, my journey really started in Martinique, which is a French department of it's a department of France in the Caribbean. And then my parents later moved to St. Lucia. I started my career here as a new product development officer for a financial conglomerate. And after about 3.5 years, which was really my plan, like after I left university, I thought I'd get some corporate experience because I always knew I wanted to be a consultant. So I got the right experience there, went on my own, started my boutique consulting firm. Well, I started working with luxury award-winning hotels, private chauffeur company, private jet, retailers, manufacturers, just getting a very, I like variety. So working in a multitude of industries allowed me to have a new challenge, first of all, and also understand the core pillars that really drive success in almost any business, regardless of the industry.
Wow. I think that's quite important to understand, because I think a lot of people start businesses, but they're not quite sure what are the 4 pillars. Yes, you might be good at something, but how do you sustain and grow that business, which is something so many people don't think of. They just say, I'm good at this, I'm good to do that as a business. Your journey, when you look back about when you started this brand strategist and online business coach, how did that come about? Was there something in you that when you knew that this is something that you truly want to do?
Yes, I mean, growing up, I was always attracted to magazines and the headlines and the ads and billboards, and I actually collected them. and and I was always curious about, what triggers desire in a person to want to, especially for the luxury market, to want to buy a product at a premium price. Why do people prefer this over this? These were like my burning questions. So it was a lot of curiosity about how words can influence, what we do, how we can use words in a way that make people happy, that make people feel inspired, and that could even make people feel sad. So words have power. And I think even saying it to you now, and it's really like cementing the idea for me is what I'm in love with is the ability for words, whether it's communicated in a spoken form or in a written form, to radically shift the energy in a space or in a person.
Yeah, it's not something we quite think about, but when you actually process things, especially when you're on that journey of now starting a business and wanting to grow that business, you start thinking of your communication method. What do you do to attract clients to really want to come and join you? So you've been doing this, and can you just tell me about when you decided to turn it from a passion to your business?
Yeah, I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, and so I grew up seeing, well, small business. So everyone was doing their own small business and very industrious. And so I always knew I would be an entrepreneur. I started very young, so I started doing my own little enterprising in a variety of things. My sister owned a hair salon, so I had my own little table on the weekend over there making my my side money. And even when I had my corporate job, I would be consulting for companies on the side as well. So it was always something that was in me. I always knew that if you had a gift, you could monetize it. And it was a belief that I guess I grew up with. And I knew that it was my gateway to freedom. I am not the type of person who likes to be confined in a box where, it's 9 to 5, it's wear the corporate outfit, whatever feels restrictive. My core value is freedom. And so whether that is freedom of expression, freedom to choose the projects that I work on, freedom to set my own times, it was something that I really truly valued. And I knew that the only path to it was to create my own business, my own brand. And I knew that whatever you do, you should monetize it. It was just a mindset that I grew up around. And so it was natural. You have a gift, you monetize it, and and you market it. So that was the concept of it. It was a pure passion, and it was a desire also seeing my own family members who had small businesses. I saw how they were also trapped in their own business, or maybe couldn't get it to grow. And that is why I decided, even if I had the choice straight out of university to go into business for myself, I decided to work for someone else, because I wanted to understand what allows companies to grow. What are the structures and the systems that allow you to scale, to be able to be profitable, to be able to invite team members, and what is required to create growth. And this was something that was important for me.
So how do you bring out people's amazing gift? Because one of your talents is that you bring out people's amazing gift. You bring out life experiences. So it's not just you're bringing out the amazing gift, you're also bringing out their life experiences. You retain talent, so you know how to look at talent and say, okay, this thing is going somewhere. I need to, and you also know how to bring out, the best in that person. How do you do that? What's your special gift? And just how do you do this?
Well, one of the things that I realize that we all do is we underestimate the thing that makes us greatest. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we have gifts, we have talents, we have skills that come so naturally to us that we don't even see it. We do it so effortlessly. We're able to create that magic whenever we're in that zone, but it feels so natural and effortless that a lot of times we don't think that it's something worth marketing, selling, or that anybody would actually pay for. Sometimes we don't even recognize that we're doing it. And so I've recognized that in many people that their greatest gift is what they're underestimating. And so when I work with my clients, what I aim to do is to understand all of the facets of themselves, like to really uncover what I call is your brand of magic. What are those combinations of things or ways that you show up in life, in work, in every area of your life that can really be packaged into a commercially viable product or service? It's not one thing that makes what we do a success. And in the world right now, like especially in the digital age, it is highly democratic. It's created great opportunities for many of us because of this democracy, right? Anybody can set up a website and go online. And the challenge with that is that anybody can do it. So you have many people doing it. But what I truly believe is that all of us have this sort of, if you want to call it like an anointing for something, because of your life experiences and the combinations of skills that you would have developed in your lifetime. If you're able to bring that together in a way that is marketable, there will be nobody else who can match you because this is unique to you. Nobody else grew up exactly like you. Nobody else had the exact life experiences that you have. And so what I do is to show people the lustrous pearl that exists in what comes naturally to them and why this is something that needs to be monetized. Because many times we just underestimate it or we disregard it as something that everybody does, and we're surprised to know that no, this is unique to you.
Yeah, I like that saying actually, Hannah, because a lot of people forget that everyone has a unique gift, and sometimes we always overlook it because we don't think it's special because we have this every day. This pandemic has caused so much pain to so many people, and a lot of people, because they've lost their jobs, they're thinking of what next, what can I do, how do I find my passion? So if people are not sure about where they are and how to start finding their clients online, what do you say to them?
The first thing I want you to, because I think this is the first experience we go through, the fear of the unknown. It is scary for a lot of people. The online space can feel confusing. It can feel noisy. It can feel complex. So the first thing I want you to really anchor into is I want you to know that there's no escaping this, first of all. So you need to immerse yourself in it, right? But it's not as complicated as you think. So just breathe, take a deep breath. It's not as complicated as you think. And secondly, this is actually happening for you. I have clients who actually thought during the pandemic that their business was over because they were used to going to speaking events in person or probably doing a lot in person to get clients. And suddenly you're at home and you're wondering, like, how am I going to reach those clients online? The first thing you need to know is you're no longer showing up for your local community. Now you are showing up for the world. So the moment you go online, if you had a local business in some small town or in some big city or whatever it is, you're now showing up for the world, which means that you have now opened up your business to bigger opportunities. I want you to know that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So if you live by that mantra, you begin to realize that yes, there is pain. Yes, there has been loss. But on the other side is an opportunity for you. And it's to embrace that. When you can see things from that, because there's always two sides to it. So if you feel pain and fear right now, know that there's happiness and success and everything else waiting for you on the other side. So that's what you have to own and believe. The other thing is to invite support, to learn as much as you can. There's so many free webinars and free events and resources and classes and just so many resources available to you on the internet. So if there's something that you don't know, there's someone who knows it or how to get it or can guide you to it. And so I don't want you to take the approach of thinking that you are alone in this. Get yourself support. There's like free Facebook groups. We have a free Facebook group for women. There are online communities where people share free resources. And maybe if you're up for the next level, then maybe you get into a paid program. But there's a lot of resources out there that you can tap into. So if there's anything that you feel stuck on, your question should be, who else can do this? Because a lot of times when we're stuck, and I've personally been there where we feel stuck and we're trying to figure it out and we're hitting a wall, and it doesn't occur to us that we can actually reach out to somebody who can help us with this. So invite support into your life. I think we live in a world that it's becoming more and more of a community, more and more connected. And there's so much, there's an answer to everything that you want out there. There's an answer to everything. So if you
No, I really have to say that is so true. Not because you're a first timer. And there's something you said which really caught me, because if you don't make that effort, something like that, then I put mine into the perspective of going to the gym. You're scared at first, you have to wake up very early, you have to, if you're doing it in the evening, but you still have to put the work. But if you put the work and give it 6 weeks, give it a couple of weeks, you start seeing body results. You start seeing that result. But at the beginning, is it hard? Absolutely. It's never easy. Nothing in life, nothing worth really having. There's pain, there's suffering, there's reluctance, there's resilience. But at the other side, there's so much joy at the end of it waiting for you. And I think that brings me to my next question, because now we're there. We decided to go into this thing. I'm saying, okay, I'm trying this because I want to be confident. And the main thing which people tend to forget is that, okay, yes, you're there. How can people start packaging their brilliance and selling high-end services? I think this is where a lot of people get it wrong. Okay, yes, you're there, but what are you offering?
Yes. One of the things that I want you to get in mind when people think about brand and brand building, they think about logo, website. So it's the first thing we do, right? Let me create my website and my logo and the colors and the fun part. But this is the end, right? But you need the means to the end. And so how do you package your brilliance? We do within my proprietary system that we use for clients, we really look at what is the brand strategy. And the premise of the brand strategy is that marketability comes before marketing. So you don't go out and start marketing before you have put together a marketable package, a marketable message, and a marketable presence that will allow you to have impact, because it makes your job easier. Remember, you have millions of websites out there. You have millions of service providers who are offering similar things to you. How do you cut through the noise? How do you create those shortcuts to the mind of your consumer to say, hey, I'm the one you need to do business with? That quickly tells them that, yes, I resonate with your brand. Yes, you are the one that I've been searching for. That sort of effect. You have to make sure that you establish that before you start investing in marketing, because your marketing work will be harder if you don't make yourself marketable first. So how do you increase your marketability in an online space? Of course, credibility helps. So I always say, even if it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you want to start building your authority. And I always recommend to people, like, build your authority using something I call OPM. And OPM is other people's media. So other people's media, you have Forbes, you have like Entrepreneur Magazine, you have Huffington Post, you have all kinds of podcasts and shows and events and things happening. Don't try to create your own when you're just starting out, because you need to be creating momentum in your business. You need to be focused on revenue generation activity. So focus on leveraging OPM and start contributing, start adding value to the space. Start creating content that matters, that will make a difference in people's lives, and that will showcase your ability to provide a level of service or insight that positions you as an expert. It doesn't matter if you're a dentist, if you're a butcher, if you're a seamstress, a hairdresser, it doesn't matter. What everyone needs to be getting into the business of thought leadership, because we are in a content-driven age. We're in an age where people are seeking to gain knowledge, wisdom, insights, engage with brands beyond product. And so you have to be showing up as an authority. So marketability, you're building your authority, presence, and credibility, making sure that you have a strong signature offer. This is something that I see a lot of businesses struggle with, because if the offer is not strong, what happens is that they end up underpricing it, undervaluing it, and very often winging it, really. Because, I've had a few, especially in the coaching space, I've worked with quite a few coaches who, when I ask, what's your signature offer? And I go through the process, because I'm trained in product development. So I'm going through the process of like, how do you actually deliver this to find the value proposition? And most times they're like, no, I just do what the client wants. When in the session, it's more intuitive. And that's okay if you're intuitive, but you have to have a methodology. People aren't buying products, they're buying clarity and strategy. They're buying a framework, a clear roadmap that will take them from A to Z. Nobody necessarily wants your product. They just want to get to where they're going, their destination. But they're going to be looking for the brand that shows them the clearest path, the best path. And unless you have that clarity of a roadmap that takes them there, you won't have the impact in terms of your selling. So what makes the difference between someone who's selling high end or not? They have a clear value proposition. They have a clear destination point offer. They have a clear value chain that they're inviting customers to be a part of within that strategy. The other thing that you want to look at is creating what I call your brand it factor. Great brands have an it factor. It's about understanding what are these archetypal combinations that make you more marketable, and that is an authentic reflection of who you are and who your ideal client is, because it's not just about you. Remember, you're a commercial person, right? You're in business. So while it must authentically reflect you, there must be a bridge between you and the market and the worldview of the market.
Wow. That is so clear. I think when you look at high-end brands, you can see why they're always so successful, because their definition is so clear, and it makes you don't question it. You just go and grab it. And also when you talk about rather than utilizing, trying to do everything yourself, utilizing your own brand, such as you said, grant yourself permission to be an expert.
An expert.
He said, sell what you are great at. Uncover your ideal client. I love all these key points you talk about. Master your message. And you say, yes, make your message marketable. I think those are just really good points that you really know. And just could you summarize why do you keep key on those 5 points?
Because without it, you don't have any point of difference in the market. People don't have time, things are moving fast, and everyone, consumers are also in that, especially now where we have this, we're coming out of this pandemic and things are uncertain. The more uncertain things become, the more people are looking to align themselves with brands that offer a high level of certainty. So unless you're grounded and you've mastered your message, you've packaged your brilliance in a way that people will perceive it as high value and can see very clearly how it can take them from A to Z, unless you have that high level of clarity, you're going to miss your mark. Because in uncertainty, they're not going to buy into your brand confusion, right? So you have to show up 100% in your power. You have to show up 100% with clarity of message, clarity of value, clarity of offer, and clarity of destination. Like, it has to be clear to people, where is this going to take me? What is the ROI on this? What can I expect from my life on this? And I don't want you to get caught up in when I say things like ROI, because ROI means different things for different people. A woman buying Louboutin, for 900 or 1,000, if it's a special piece, is buying it for the specific ROI of how she wants to feel in that moment, a statement of her level and her status and her accomplishment in life. That's her ROI on it. The brand is going to give her that. And guess what? Everyone will know because they can see the red bottoms. That's the value proposition. Without the red bottom being visible, right? The customer wouldn't get what they want because now nobody knows what shoe she has on. That's why the shoe is outselling more than any other shoe in the market, unless it's another shoe with a logo on it, like, Versace puts their Medusa on the front. Why? Because this level of visibility is important to their client. It must make the statement. Other people must know what it is for those who want to show that. So you have to know what your customer wants. And you have to give it to them.
That's true. Absolutely. It's just as simple as that. And sometimes you could also twist it around and put them in your own shoes. Ask yourself a question as well. If this someone approached you with what you're saying, would you accept it? Would you say that? My final question, honestly, is the definition of success. How can people find their joy while reaching for more?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I would say that you need to build your brand as a love story. A lot of times what I see people doing is getting into that sacrificial mode or getting into the mode of thinking of obligation, where they think this is what has worked for another person and this is what must work for me. And the way you find that joy and success is by doing what fulfills you. It's a very scary thing to do. It's easy to say and it sounds very nice, but I see people struggle with this every day. They're like, I would rather be doing this, but I have to do this because I have to pay the bills, or I have to do that. And very often, what happens is when people step into that thing that they're really called to do, that they're really meant to do, they end up making more money. But because we have been trained that our passion is just a hobby, like it's been drilled in us, that only certain careers make money, that only certain things will make you money, that if you work harder, you will make more money. And because of that programming, we get into that mode of doing things that we don't want to do because we think we'll get some kind of reward from doing it. As children, we were trained that way. You wanted your whole cake and they told you if you shed the cake, you're a good girl. Right? But if you didn't share a cake, you're a bad girl. Even if you wanted to eat your whole cake, right? You weren't given permission to do that. I mean, yes, they're teaching you the lesson of sharing, but at the same time, it has the opposite effect of teaching you that if you do things that you don't want to do, you'll get rewarded. Everyone will like you. You will be accepted. A lot of times we think about showing up on social media, and instead of showing up how you want to show up, you're like, how do I show up so people will like me, so people will buy? And the moment you're doing that, you're transferring your power, you're releasing your energy in a way that feels needy, in a way that will repel people. There's nothing more sexy than confidence and conviction and passion. It's infectious. When someone shows up passionate, that is what sells. I have been fortunate to see all kinds of products become multi-million-dollar businesses, like products I almost laughed at are successful. And the reason is the owner is passionate about it. I remember I met a business, they're selling it's a beautiful thing. I have one in my closet, like ceramic, scented ceramics, right? And that's all they sell, scented ceramics. Like scented ceramic bracelets and scented ceramics to put in your closet to make it smell good. And that's their multi-million-dollar business. So at the end of the day, it's about giving yourself permission to do what you want to do, allowing your creativity to be expressed. Your next big idea can come from your biggest ideas don't come while you're working. Your biggest ideas come while you're doing what you love. I have a friend who owns a very luxurious hotel in the Caribbean, the Jade Mountain Resort in St. Lucia. And she, during the pandemic, when other owners might have been scrambling, she decided, you know what, I'm going to take a 2-week vacation at my own hotel. And in doing that, she discovered, wow, why don't I create a package called the Single Moon, where single people can go on vacation and escape for a week or two by themselves and just treat themselves. And suddenly it's featured in every global magazine talking about the Single Moon package, and people are buying it. Wow. So sometimes you might say to yourself, no, I have to put my head down and work, when what you really want to do is go to the beach. Go to the beach and sit there for a while, because sometimes your best ideas come when you have relaxed, you're in a space where you're creative, you're in an environment where your creativity can flow. So I think it's about honoring your feelings, honoring your desires, honoring your passion, and knowing that it will lead you to where you're truly meant to be, and trusting, because a lot of times when we're operating from a space of fear, we have anxiety, we have impatience. That's how you know you're operating in fear. You're impatient, everything must happen fast, you're anxious, you're always tense, and everything triggers you. That's fear in the background. What you want to get into is a space of love, where your creativity is flowing, where you feel peace, where you're working and it's flowing and things are in harmony. And that comes from a space of trusting, letting go, and knowing that you don't have to do everything for yourself alone. You're not alone. And you have to let go of the belief that if you don't do it, nobody else can do it for you. You have to trust that there is a bigger picture, and there are bigger things operating around you and for you, that will come to you with or without your help. But your job is to step into that space where you're living from that space of creativity. You're able to see your vision. You're able to take time. I always advise my clients, take at least, even if it's once a week, that you take 30 minutes just to dream. Just to dream.
And it always,
30 minutes.
It always works. Well, Hanna, thank you so much for this wonderful conversation. I think you shed a light on it can be done. But
Yes.
there's just few things we need to alter in our life to make it better and to make it consistent, and also our own personal attitude. I really appreciate this time you spent with me having this conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.